Yes, shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, Priya.
Okay, ma'am. Good morning, participants. It's my pleasure to see you all for the second day of this AICTE Friday FDP on Kotlin, the next frontier in metaprogramming. Today, we handle sessions on object-oriented and advanced object-oriented concepts in Kotlin, followed by how to the errors in Kotlin. Today, first session is object-oriented concepts in Kotlin, and I'm so delighted to introduce the resource person, Dr. S. Viveka ma'am, Professor, Department of Information Technology, for this session. She has completed her MCA at Balagir University and postgraduate in ME Computer Science and Engineering at Vellalar College of Engineering and Technology, Dindal. She has also got a doctorate at University, Chennai. She has 10 plus years of academic experience in Vellalar College of Engineering and Technology. Moreover, she has organized 4 workshops and presented papers in 8 conferences. Her articles have been published in 5 journals, and as well, she has received copyright for data processing equipment as well as peripheral apparatus and devices. She has also filed a patent. Today, I'm so honored to invite you, ma'am, to be the resource person for this ATEN-sponsored FDP session. I request you to take up the session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Good morning,
Thank you, ma'am.
participants. It's my pleasure. And first of all, I want to thank my management, principal, and HOD for providing me this opportunity to take a session in this online FDP. So today's session is about object-oriented concepts, which we are going to follow in Kotlin. Now, is my screen is visible? Leela, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So, shall I proceed?
Yes.
So this is the evaluation of programming. So how the programming languages are evaluated from machine languages to object-oriented programming language. So from machine language, we are having a lot of machine instructions, and these are all the things which we already discussed, and we are familiar of this. Okay? And so now we are going to see what is some object-oriented programming, why it is important, and how the Kotlin provides us the object-oriented concepts. So this is the procedural oriented programming, or this is object oriented programming, or this is how the procedural oriented programming works. So here, see that there is a global data. So let me open the pointer. So here the global data is here, and we are having function 1 and function 2, which both can access the global data without any permission, because the global data is generally available for all the functions in procedural oriented language. So this is the main disadvantages in this procedural oriented language, because the global data can be accessed by all the functions. So there may be some misplacement of code, misplacement of values, or there can be a modification of the global data. But in procedural oriented, in object oriented language, so that is the major difference. Here the data, you cannot access the data directly as you did in your procedural programming language or functional programming language. So here the data is separated. Okay? So from other functions. So only the functions which is inside or the functions and data are grouped together, only we can access the data only through that function alone. So we cannot access the function in another function. Okay, so for an example, suppose let us consider this is function 1 and this is function 2. So we cannot access directly the data of the object-oriented programming. So here we are bundled the data on functions together, and we are using this function to access this data. So this data cannot be able to modify without any permission, because this function knows how to modify the data. So this is the major concept behind object-oriented programming. So why OOP? So then object-oriented programming aims to implement real-world entities like inheritance, data hiding, polymorphism in programming. So Kotlin supports both object-oriented as well as functional programming. So here we are going to see the concept of object and class. Before going to see what is an object and what is a class, so let me first explain what is an object. So we are all know what is an object. Objects are real world entity, or we are saying in a programming terms, we can say it is a basic runtime entity. So what is an object? So think about everything because of object-oriented programming, we are having the concept that we are going to build all the real-world objects or all the real-world entities inside the program, right? So here we are going to use the concept object to implement that. That is, we are taking all the real-world entities into the world of programming. That is happens only through object-oriented programming. So in that, we are saying what is an object. So consider an object. So think an object as for an example like a car, like a window. So you can think it. For an example, we can think a window. So consider a window in your house and in your friend's house, or the window wherever you see. So we are having a dimension for each and every window, is it? So that is its length and height, or length and width, or the number of curtains, doors, etc., etc. So each and every window object has some common properties, right? So that is the basic properties dimension. So think about the dimension of your window inside your house and your friend's house. So there are also many difference in the dimension alone, not in the, so that is the dimension value alone, not in the dimensions or not in the basic properties. Okay, so we are going to say, so the window in the sense it has to, it is in that size. So for an example, car. So you consider a car has a model, car has a number of passengers, so you are going to have the fuel capacity, so and that braking system, so on that. So we are going to have, so consider a car, we are thinking about a car, we are going to have these properties in our mind. So like a person, we are going to have a person. So the person has a name, age, and qualification, salary, etc., etc. Okay? So those things. So how we can get that real world object into our programming. So that is the important concept. So to make that object inside the program, we are using class. So class is used to create the object. So class is the blueprint, or the class is the static entity which is used to create the object. Okay, so we can say the class is a user defined data type, so that is to create an object. So without a class we cannot able to create objects, but whenever we are going for runtime, the objects alone exist, the class doesn't. Okay. So this is the syntax to create classes in Kotlin. So this is like all object-oriented programming languages. It starts with the class and class name. Then you can have the number of properties, member function, and class header. So we are going to have a lot of things inside this class. So later on we will discuss, because this session is about basic concepts of objects. So here an example of core model. So class core model. So here we are defining the property. So we know that type of variable var and var. So var is used to create mutable string, mutable variables, and the private is the visibility. So let us see how these things works later on. So these are all the member functions. So here we are having the member functions. Yesterday we discussed about how we create functions. Okay, so this is a parameter which we pass to our set core color function, and this is a return type of this get core color. Okay, so these are all the property and member functions. So whenever you think property of an object, that comes as a variable inside the class. So you know that variables which is or you think about a person, you think about a student, you can create, you can have a number of properties in your mind. Those things comes under the variable session of variable declaration part of your class. So the variables are the members. Okay? So we are going to say it is a property. So every object has a property, and some functions are the actions which can do with that variables. Okay, so here we can set the core color and get the core color, and we can apply breaks. So those are all the member functions which can operate on these variables. So outside world, how the outside world, because we are going to group these things, is it? Whenever you are creating a class, so every core object has these things. So that whenever we are creating a core object, suppose consider this is a core object. So you are going to create, or this core object going to contain this private variable and these functions. So these functions inside the core object. So suppose if I am creating 5 core objects, all these 5 going to have a color variable or color member inside the object. So we can modify the color of each and every object using this core color, set core color function, but we cannot directly modify the core color. So because it is a private specification, it is under private visibility, so we cannot able to modify. So let us later on we will discuss about the visibility modifiers in Kotlin. So class, we can continue the class. So in our class, this is not always necessary to have a curly brace. Okay. So suppose we are creating an empty class, so you can just create the class and class name. Okay. So and classes are by default final. So we cannot overload, or we cannot inherit. So let us see later how we can inherit the final classes in Kotlin. So this is how we can create object, and we can access the members of the class. So the object of core model is going to be created either var type or variable type. So if you are creating a var type, you can mute, or that is we can change the value of that. Okay. So or otherwise we cannot able to change the values of that particular. So here we can see the difference. In Java, we have to use that new core model, but here in Kotlin, that new keyword is. So we can access the properties and member functions using dot notation. So that we already know. So yes, in Java and yes in C++, from all the object-oriented programming languages, we use dot notation to access its members. Okay, is it? So we can access only the public members. Suppose if the function, so let us have another slide. So if because these functions, see here, BMW core set core color. So BMW core is an object, okay, so of core model. So here we are calling that function set core color, is it? So set core color function is called, and the core variable color of core BMW is going to be set as a blue. So here in println statement, this percentage curly brace symbol indicates that we are going to execute a function inside the print statement. Okay, suppose if I want to store use another variable to store my core color, then this curly braces can be. So we can access only the public members of a text. Okay. So this property is private, so we cannot able to directly get the color variable. Suppose if we are using core color here, core color and something dot. So here then it will show you. So this initializer block, the code inside the init block, this is the syntax we have to use to define this block. Okay. Initializer block, it is executed first whenever the class is instantiated. So whenever you instantiate means you can create an object in runtime. So whenever you create an object, you decide to display something on a screen. Is it? So that easily possible using only this initializer. Without initializing block, we cannot able to do that. So whenever the class user is, whenever the object for this class user is created, the class instance is initialized. This statement is going to be displayed in the screen. So here is an example. So here the same thing is given here. So here I just change the sentence. User created in initializer block. Okay. So we can use. Okay, the initializer block can used whenever the object of a particular class is created, or it's going to be executed whenever the object is created. So next we are going to see about constructors. So constructor is a special kind of member functions that is used to initialize the state or property of newly created objects of a class. So it is invoked whenever the instance of a class is created, that is object is created. So we know the constructor because, so for an example, consider an object. Let us come back from that object, then only it is very easy to understand what is the constructors and why it is needed. So constructors are used to initialize the value of an object when it is created. For an example, suppose every football has the same size. Okay, that is not possible in the real world, but something, for an example, a half size scale, 30 centimeter scale. So those are all some objects which has a predefined measures, is it? So we can use constructors to have that in our object, or whenever we are creating a object, we are having that these are all the properties, and these are all the properties value that the object should have. That there is no need to pass that object, or then no need to pass that value, then no need to have that get function to get a value. Then we can use the constructor to store that value inside the object when it is created. So constructors in Kotlin, there are two types of constructors. So one is primary constructor, another one is secondary constructor. So in a class, we are going to have a single primary constructor and one or more secondary constructors. So primary constructor is part of the class header and declared after the class name itself. We cannot go after the class name to create the constructor. Okay, so the primary constructor is part of the class header. So we cannot move the primary constructor inside the class, then it becomes the secondary constructor. So to define the property types, we are going to use the same val or var inside the constructor itself. Okay, so suppose if it is not stated by, okay, so variable or something, the constructor arguments becomes val type. So that is immutable. So here we are having a syntax for creating the primary constructor. So here we are giving the name, or we are using the syntax constructor, keyword constructor. So here we are omitting the constructor keyword. So only we can use this constructor whenever we are having an annotation or whenever we are creating the primary constructor. So then only you can use this constructor, or we can omit this. Suppose if you are creating a constructors public, by default constructors are public. So suppose if you want to create a private constructor, so suppose whenever you are using private constructor means when you want to create a single instance of an object. Okay. So and the primary constructor has a constraint syntax that is it cannot contain any code. So in Java and in C++, you can have a constructor which has some code to work on that data types or data values. But in Kotlin, we are having a primary constructor, but that doesn't have any code. Okay, it has only the variables and its values. Okay, so that what we are going to do, suppose if you want to do some operations, okay, so that to be that code to be put into the initialization code. Okay, so the initialization block is used to store the code which we want to do when an object is created. So these are all two different way of using the initializer block. So here that string and age is passed to the constructor. So here we are having a variable. Okay, so first name and age. So this block is used to assign. So capitalize the name and going to assign the first name. So age is going to assign the age. So here we can able to print. So you can see in the later slide what happens. This suppose if you are not giving where or where here. Okay. So here you are having a different way of using initializer block. So here that first name dot capitalize is already or which is used in the same statement. Here we are assigning the age which is received as a parameter. Okay. So that this block is used to just print. So constructor we cannot able to suppose inside the constructor. So let us say that suppose if it is the constructor block, so I will give all these statement inside the constructor block. This is not possible in Kotlin. So in Kotlin, primary constructor doesn't have any code. So we have to go for only the initializer block. So this points to be noted while you are using constructors. So when a constructor is defined in a class header, it can contain no parameters or parameter. Okay, so without a parameter or without a constructor, it is possible to create a class. Then it is no problem. So suppose if you are going for a parameterized constructor, so we have to make it a just a constructor or with a variable specification constructor or with a variable type constructor. So if we are giving without val or var, the copy exists only within the scope of the constructor. So you cannot take that outside the constructor. That is first line of that constructor is alone we can use. Suppose if you are making it with the type modifier, we can use or the copy exists to the entire scope of the class. So this is how that val or var used in constructor. For an example, here we are having that main class. Here we are having the class user var long and name string. So here you check that ID has a specifier, val specifier, but for name we are not giving anything, is it? So but here, so we are having one function get ID and one initializer block. Okay, so this block, in this block you cannot you can use that name can be accessed here, but inside the get ID function you cannot be accessed because but the ID can be accessed in both the sides. So here say this ID is ID, prints the ID. Can you suppose if you want to use the ID here, it is no problem, you can use. But this name, okay, so name is cannot be accessed here. Why means because as we are not specifying any val or var type in the constructor declaration, then the scope of this becomes the local variable, so it is not available outside the constructor. So Kotlin constructors with the default value. So you know what is an overloading of functions. So overloading of functions is used to reduce the default values of constructors or default value is functions is used to reduce the number of overloads. So suppose if I'm creating the constructor, I'm having a secondary constructors with a number of overloads. So you can see how those things can be eliminated using default values. So here we are having a class person, public constructor, var name, which is string, and var age, which is int. Okay, so I'm using that specifier here, data type specifier. So here I'm going to use the variable and name. Okay, so age and name. Okay, so here in this main functions, I'm going to create two type of person objects. One is Ram and one other is Sam. Okay, so Ram is going to have its name. So because this constructor, I'm going to give this first one is his name and second one is his age. Okay, so if I am specifying the age, so it will modify that age. So you know what is an default value and how it is used with the functions. So here in objects also we can use that default value while creating. Okay, so default value, why we are going for default value means default value is going to avoid the number of overloads that will reduce the work of the compiler. So here we are not passing any second argument. As we are not passing the second argument, the compiler takes the second argument from here. So here we are going to see about secondary constructors in Kotlin. Excuse me. So a class can also contain one or more secondary constructors. They are created using constructor keyword. Secondary constructors are not that common in Kotlin. So most common use of secondary constructor comes up when we need to extend the class. So extend the class means when you are going to use inheritance, the secondary constructor is mainly used while you are going for inheritance. So this is an example how we create a secondary constructor. So in the secondary constructor, we are going to use that keyword constructor. Okay, so in secondary constructor, it is mandatory to use the keyword constructor. So secondary constructors are going to be created inside the class. So here we are going to have overloaded constructor. Is it? So because here we are just passing a single parameter to the constructor, here we are passing two parameters to the constructor. The compiler is going to act accordingly based on the parameters which it receives while creating the object. Okay, so the same example which we discussed in the primary constructor is used here, but we are using the secondary constructor instead of primary constructor. Okay. So here you can see this name. So this can be used inside alone. So we cannot go into with that name. So primary and secondary constructor in a class. Okay. So the secondary constructor comes in a subclasses when we need to initialize the class in different ways. That is when you are going for inheritance. So if the class contains the primary constructor, secondary constructor must refer to it in its declaration. Okay, so suppose if you are having the secondary constructor, primary constructor and secondary constructor means the secondary constructor has to refer the primary constructor. So because this is done using, why? Because this has to refer means, so whenever you are creating an object, so let us see this thing in inheritance detail. Okay. So here we are having a primary constructor and as well as secondary constructor. So here the same example. So here we are using the secondary constructor. So this is the syntax for creating secondary constructor, and this is the syntax of, or this is the example of creating primary constructor. Okay. So here the primary constructor and this secondary constructor. So this primary and secondary constructor here is it the class student. So which has a primary constructor and it has also a secondary constructor. So this secondary constructor right here, see this name and age is passed to the primary constructor using the keyword this. So this keyword is used to refer the primary constructor. Okay, so super keyword is used to refer the super in inheritance. Here we are using this keyword. Okay. So here we are passing this name, his name and age. Is it? So we are passing his name and age So we are not doing anything because this is a simple example to demonstrate how we use primary and secondary constructor in our program. Okay, so we have to understand those things. That is where we have to use the primary and where we have to use the secondary constructors, everything. So that is the main thing in this. Okay. So here the class student, we are passing only this name and age. Okay. So here we are having another variable called skill. So but the string, we are not initializing, we are just initializing the skill as not applicable or any something. Okay. So if you are pausing, and here also you are using this this dot skill. So this implies that we are using this current constructor skill. So here we are applying that this dot skill is going to store the value of this skill inside. Okay. So if here we are checking skill equals. Okay. So this is, it's going to check the skill inside the primary constructor. So if it is not applicable, then it's going to just print the name and age, or otherwise it prints his name, age, and as well as skill. Okay, for an example here we pass that student name Ram and his age and the area of where he is familiar Kotlin. So here the constructor has the value. So constructor does not has that any, sorry, that string is not equal with any. So it's going to print this statement like normal if else statement. Okay. So next thing which we can discuss with the basics of class object-oriented concept in Kotlin is getters and setters. So getters and setters is very simple. It is used to initialize a property value. Okay, so these things are enabled automatically. Suppose if you are not giving the get and setter function for a particular object value, okay, or it's going to use the default one. So this is the syntax how we can create the getter and setter for every property. So we can create that thing I missed to tell. We can create a getter and setter for each and every property. Suppose if you want to create a property without getter and setter, it is also possible. So this is the syntax to create a property. Here we are defining the property name, property type, and the property initializer value. So property name, so that is where in the sense we are going to create a mutable property where age colon int equal to 43, 45. We are going to give the value of that particular property. So here those things gives under bracket. Okay. So this is a optional one. Getter and setter are optional one for a property. Even in a class, inside the class, property is also optional. Is it? So we are suppose if we are not having any member inside a class, we are just creating the class empty with a class name without curly braces. Is it? So this is an example how we are creating a getter and setter. Okay. So here we are giving a var, that is the type, and name is the property name. So colon is used to divide the type and name. So this is a string. So this is a default value. Okay. So the string inside the string, I just assign the default value. Okay. So this field get equal to field and set value equal to field equal to value. So this is the field which is automatically associated with the property inside the Kotlin. Okay, so field and that likewise the value. So we cannot able to directly assign string name equal to Ram. So this will create the Stack Overflow error. Okay, so yeah, why? Because that we are recursively call that getter function. Okay, so that it will create the Stack Overflow error. So this is an example of custom get and set. So here we are having a name string So here I'm going to set that getter function, and another one is set function. So for another property, I'm having an age. So for this also, I'm having get function, but I'm not having a setter function. Why? Because so I just initialize the value. Age is 18. So no need to have a setter function. So whenever you are using this name equal to ninja, it automatically calls the setter function. Okay. So let us see the concept of inheritance. So inheritance is the concept of class hierarchies. Okay. So you know inheritance, what is an inheritance and how it is works. So by default the classes are final, so we cannot able to inherit. So to make the class visible or to create a class hierarchy, you have to use the open keyword. This is a keyword that to be prefixed with the class to make the class inheritable. So this is the syntax. So open class, this is the name of your base class, and this is the syntax used to define that you are inheriting the feature of base class to your derived class. So this is class example. This is open class XYZ. This XYZ becomes a base class for this class ABC. So all the properties and that is property variables and member functions are easily available inside the ABC. So suppose if you are going to inheritance with a constructor, so you can go for open base, that is open class, and derived class that we know. So suppose if you are having a constructor in your base class and as well as in your derived class, so the base class constructor has to initialize in the first step itself. Okay, so that is the thing which we discussed, or this is the thing shown in this slide. Okay, so this pay of int that to be initialized whenever you are creating the second class. So that is because primary base class has a primary constructor. So the derived class also has a must have a primary constructor, and the value is passed to the base class constructor in the first step itself. So we can also use the initialization code that to be inside the class. Okay, so that is that which we discussed earlier. So how we use init code inside a constructor. Okay? So here this is an example how we are have a primary constructor. So here the class employee is the base class, so it is defined open. So the programmer here we are using that inheritance. So here we pass that salary and name to the primary constructor of the base class. So in this access in the first step itself. So this is an example for the same thing. So here the property inheritance. So here we can inherit all the member functions and member variables. Here the variable program is derived in the derived class. Okay, so here having a base class and derived class. So this println program, this variable is not inside the class derived class or inside the function B, but it can able to print that string program. So where it comes from? It comes from the base class. So suppose if we are having a secondary constructor, this slides show how to initialize the secondary constructor. Okay, so how to pass the value of a value to a secondary constructor of a base class from the derived class secondary constructor. Okay, so here we are using this super keyword. So super keyword is used to access the super classes. So overriding of members. So when you know the difference between the overload and override. So overload, we are going to have the same function. So here also we are going to have the same function, but the same function name which we define inside our base class as well as in our derived class. Okay, so to avoid those things, that is to avoid the confusions of our compiler, where to access this function from the base class or from the derived class. Okay, so that to make us or easy or make the compiler to get where the function from it is from a base class or from the derived class. So you are using the keyword override. So here we have to use that keyword override. So because see this base class animal, so animal has a variable number of legs and it has a function run. So here in our derived class, we are creating a class for tiger and we are inheriting the members of animal class here. So here I want to override the variable. So I have to use number of legs. So here I'm going to use override. This keyword has to come prefix. Okay. So this function is also get override. So click here, I'm creating a class for bird. Bird is also an animal, but so I'm going to override. So I'm going to override in the why we are going to override. So I'm going to have a unique feature, but all the classes which is comes under the class hierarchy has the features in, above the classes. So I want to override or I want to create a new function or new variable with a new property value. Okay. So derived class initialization order. So how the derived class and base class has constructors and values. So how these things are get initialized. So we are going to have that order. First the base class going to initialize, then the derived class instance are going to initialize. So but we are creating the object only for the derived class, not for the base class. So all the classes in Kotlin has a superclass any. So like object in Java. So here we are having a superclass any. So that class has these three functions: equal, hash code, and toString functions. So here we are having that visibility modifiers. So public, protected, internal, and private. So these four visibility modifiers are available in Kotlin. So we know what is a public, protected, and private. So private members cannot be accessed or can be accessed only inside the class. It cannot come out of the class. So protected can be act as a private inside the derived class. So public we can access anywhere. So this internal modifier, visibility modifier is different in Kotlin. It has the visibility of the entire module. Okay, so suppose we are creating a package. So within a package, so we are going to say it is a module. So the internal can be used inside the module. Okay, not only inside that class. Everything. So and all your classes, objects, interfaces, constructors, properties, and their setters as visibility modifiers. So getter always have the same visibility as the property. Suppose if you are having a private variable, means that getter of that private variable is visibility modifier of that getter of that particular variable is also private. Okay, so we cannot modify the visibility of a getter function. So this is I've already discussed. So that is internal visibility modifiers. So this is an example. So that is the visibility modifier. So here we are giving the private. So visible inside the function. Inside that example named example.kt. So all Kotlin function has an extension, or Kotlin programs has the extension .kt. So suppose if you are giving a private, that is available only inside. Okay, so that because this is one function named foo, so it is visible inside an example. So if you are giving a public where var, it is in the type of integer and it has the value 5, the property is visible everywhere because this visibility modifier. Okay, so the private set, is it? This setter visibility is only example, okay, because we are going to get set. Okay, so this internal, say this is that visibility modifier having, or visibility modifier which is available new to Kotlin. So this is inside the same module. Okay, we can see this example inside the, sorry, we can see the variable bas inside an example, or the where the example is designed inside module. Okay, so that module which contains example can also visible the variable. So this is that where we can refer, because all these Android Studios and IntelliJ IDE or makes our system somewhat slower, okay, because we have to go for more than 8 GB of RAM. But this online location gives us a lot of things to learn Kotlin. So this is end of my presentation. So thank you. So I want to ask you the questions and feedbacks.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, ma'am, it's very clear and nice session, ma'am.
Thank you,
I
sir.
have one doubt, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
We mentioned that secondary and primary constructors as well as the secondary constructors, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
And we mentioned the default arguments, default parameters also.
Yeah.
So for mentioning this primary and the secondary in the same class, do we have any rules for this default parameters, ma'am?
No, sir, we are not having that that is any specific rule, but we have to initialize the parameters of the constructors, base class constructors, only through the derived class constructor. So those statements are the very beginning or very first statement.
Yes, ma'am. In the secondary constructors, in the example, we mentioned two secondary constructors, which is having one argument.
Sir, okay, sir, let me go to that slide.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this slide, primary, or I don't know which slide you want to that. That's the question. So constructor, is it? Sir, in this slide. Excuse me, sir.
I think in the next example, ma'am, you mentioned two secondary constructors, ma'am, in the same class. Yes,
Is it?
yeah. In this constructor, we have one argument in first secondary constructor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. In this, if we gave any default arguments, how it will identify, ma'am?
Sir, as this overloaded concepts, no? Because of that, suppose if you are giving any default value, suppose if you are having that age here, and this age is 56. Suppose if I'm having the default value age is here, okay, sir. So this is our suppose if I'm having age, let me have an pen, sir. Suppose if I'm having an age here. Is it? So that is your question,
Yes,
or so
yes,
suppose if I'm having a values here, ages, suppose age 18 is here, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I'm not giving or if I'm pausing any default value, okay, so the constructor which I am using here, the constructor which I'm using Sam of 56. So this goes to here. So here I'm not giving any value. So this goes here. Okay. So if I am giving the default values here, okay. So this constructor is this whenever I'm executing the person to create a object RAM, it's going to execute here because of the default value.
Okay. Okay. Now I understand.
Because I'm giving only one argument here, sir. So it goes to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Ma'am, do we have the concept of destructor in Kotlin?
So yes, sir. That comes under advanced concept, sir. So it will comes in that next session, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am.
morning,
Actually,
sir.
I have a question regarding the garbage collection in Kotlin, ma'am.
Okay,
In
sir.
Java, we have the option automatically collect the spaces, but
Yes,
what
sir.
in Kotlin, ma'am?
Sir, it is also based on Java itself, sir. So it is also has that default garbage collectors. All the features of Java is always available, sir.
Okay, fine.
Thanks. So in this so let me open the channel. Repeat the refer link. Sir, default and primary constructor. So what is the exact difference between primary and secondary constructor? In that primary constructor, we can have only one, and secondary constructors, we can have more. But we cannot overload. Suppose if we want to overload the constructor, in the sense, we have to go for secondary constructor. So in that link, that is play. So this is play.kotlinlang.org. So in that we are having a number of options. So we to learn. Sir, hope you.
Participants, if you have any other queries, you can proceed now.
Ma'am, very good morning. Ma'am, very good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, actually, I am having a small clarification in what sort of applications these kind of programming will be useful, ma'am. Can you tell me the real-time application of this particular constructor handling?
Ma'am, your mic is off.
Suppose if you want to create a singleton object. So whenever we are going to create a single instance for a class, for an example, we can have an application that has to access the database or that has to access the network. That time we need to create a single object for that particular application. Then we can go for that constructors.
You mean to say that can I use this Kotlin application in banking domain?
So you can use, like Java, you can use anywhere, but mainly we are using Kotlin to create mobile apps.
Mobile apps. What I mean to
yes,
say,
sir.
for example, there is an application called Neftar RTGS application.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can use it.
If I would like to have a mobile application of the same functionality, can I use Kotlin?
Yes, sir. You can create. You can use Kotlin to create a variety of applications. So as well as your web application, from web application or standalone application to mobile application.
Yes, yes. You mean to say that just like a standalone system, I can develop my own application?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can develop. Yes, sir. After all the things you want to do with the so layout and design, sir, comes under Android applications, sir.
Okay.
So you can see those sessions on Wednesday.
No. What I mean to say, mobile application is different rather than Android application. That is right. So what I mean
both are same, sir, because Android is
mobile application means see, it may not be .apk. For example, I am having a standalone application for my desktop system or network system. If at all, if I want to convert the same functionality to any kind of mobile, it may have Android OS or some other OS. Based
Okay,
on the
sir.
portability, if
Sir, this Kotlin provides a lot of portability. You need to change. No need to change that code to another one, because we are having that Android Studio has that facility to convert the code from one application to another one. So you can usually use that, sir.
okay, without no changes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It will automatically convert
That is-
the things.
So that is the advantage of
Yes,
this
sir.
particular
Yes.
programming language. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for
Thank
clearing
you, sir.
that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, 1 minute. So I want to show that Kotlin playground. So there you can see, or so in. Sir, could you able to see my screen?
Sorry, ma'am. Can you repeat it, please?
Sir,
No, ma'am.
so my screen is visible to you?
No, ma'am. It's not visible.
No, madam. It is not visual.
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Yes, sir. So here you can all your do all your works. Okay, so this is like IntelliJ IDE. So and then here you can have a lot of things, sir. So like this cons and examples. Here you can do your own exercise, and you can learn by the examples which already provided by the kotlinlanguage.org. So it is very useful while you are learning this language from the scratch. So here it gives some fill in the blank type questions. So you can fill it and you can execute. Suppose if you want to get the answer, so it is show answer is here. Okay, so you can see the answer, what will happen, or so you have to modify. Okay, so this, suppose if you want to go previous, so here what you are going to do,
Understood.
this is so this is these are all lot of things you can do, sir. So and this Kotlin play, so here you can use without any installation on just online compiler, like online compiler, but it is the difference in the sense it has all the features like the IDE. So here, so it will show what type of functions you want to use in your printer. Okay. So let us conclude this session, sir. So any more questions? Sir, any questions? So can we write Android programs in Playground? So So we can execute the simple and standalone applications, sir, but fully Android applications is not possible. Okay? So let me conclude this session by okay, sir, no more questions. So I want to thank my management, principal, and my HOD for providing me this opportunity to take a session in this online update, Kotlin, the next frontier in meta programming. So participants, thank you. And I want to once again thank my friends. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I think the queries are over. Shall we wind up the session, ma'am?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
And participants, kindly join the next session at 11 a.m.